So, quarantine day, whatever, I don't know, I don't even care anymore, lost track of time. But looking back on it, whoever's watching, even if it's just me doing something for college, you can see the date that this is posted. And you know what was the date that all of this started. So whatever, you can figure it out retroactively. I drove this morning to go pick up produce from this local farm, trying to support them and keep them in business. They set up at this church and have been unloading boxes of produce and dairy and other things into people's cars, direct order. You just pull up and open your trunk. So I did that. And my dad is making a compost bin. Helped him with that. I'm rambling, but whatever. So I've been told that classes are going to start back up next week, Tuesday and Thursday still, with the new upgraded Blackboard Collaborate Ultra stuff. The links to the classrooms, because of some security mumbo-jumbo, the teachers can't post them on Google Classroom or have a Blackboard tab or anything. So they sent us emails with the links to the classroom. And you're supposed to keep them somewhere. I was going to pin them all to my Google page, except only 2 of them fit because I had other things like Google Classroom and Blackboard pinned there. So the rest of them I put just in a Google Doc. So I have links from all of my teachers, except for one. I ordered some fabric paint too, to start painting more masks. And we found a template for 3D printing masks with the exact 3D printer that we have. So we're looking for the little nozzle piece on Amazon that you need to make the plastic streams be thin enough or whatever. So we're gonna upload the template and start making masks and finding some way to donate them to places that need them. Don't know when that's gonna happen because we haven't been able to find the nozzle yet, but whatever, we're trying. Oh, in other news, here's a comedic moment for those of you historians in the future or students watching this for class. Again, sorry, hope you don't have to take notes. Don't know how useful this is gonna be. But here's a comedic moment. The current president, unfortunately we have this for a president, but Trump, during one of his press conferences, after the people who actually knew what they were talking about, like Dr. Fauci, went and talked about what's happening with corona, how to protect yourself and other things. Trump came up and suggested that people inject themselves with disinfectants such as Lysol, because if they can get the virus off of hard surfaces, they should be able to get it out of a person or protect you from it. Which, like, what? Why? How would you ever think that in any capacity would work? Why would you ever think that's a good idea? How has this man not expired from his own stupidity before now? Of course, his team has since come out and said that he meant it sarcastically to try to cover it up. But if your best cover-up is like saying that he meant it sarcastically, which would mean he was either mocking or disbelieving of the actual professionals, which is still bad. If that is your best cover-up, then what is the situation? I cannot wait for the 2020 election. We need someone competent in office. Like, oh my God. I'm just waiting for some report to come out that some poor hospital somewhere who's overloaded with corona patients gets a, like, critical case of someone who actually did try to inject themselves with Lysol and starts dying because it's a stupid idea. And so, yeah, there you go. Hope that interested you. I have started watching a ton of stuff in my downtime, which is a lot, despite the stuff that I have to do for school. Because I don't have a ton to do from school. It might, they might increase the amount of work we have to do, except right now none of the teachers know what they're doing because the county keeps changing things. So they haven't been assigning stuff. For English, though, I'm reading The Fellowship of the Ring. I've split it into 100 pages at a time. Yeah, so every week I read 100 pages of Fellowship of the Ring. Which is good, because I've been wanting to read Lord of the Rings for a while, and I've just never gotten around to it. Like, 3 or 4 years ago, I'd started Fellowship after reading The Hobbit, and I just couldn't make it through. So hopefully this time is different. After that, I'll watch the movies, depending on how far I get into the series. Don't know how long this vlog's gonna be, but, you know, whatever, I don't know, it's an account of what's happening. Primary source for all of you in history and English, because I'm living through it. So if that's an answer to one of your questions on whatever form or worksheet or something you're filling out, this is a primary source. Though I expect if they show this to you and that's on your worksheet that they're cutting this part out, so you're probably not going to see this. It's supposed to get, like, really, really stormy soon. Effects of climate change. That's another thing, like, this whole corona, quarantine, whatever, all of this lockdown, it's gonna give us more time to deal with climate change because surprise, surprise, global emissions are down a ton because no one's leaving their house. There's no airlines. There's no, well, very little car travel. Been seeing some other projections of what this is going to mean for the future. Stuff like there's going to be less actually going into the office to work and more working from home because we're proving that it's possible to do this. And that like 90% of jobs, 90% of most jobs can be done completely at home. We've just never put the resources into it until now. Stuff like projections of smaller class sizes, higher pay for teachers. That's good. Hope that happens. Teachers deserve more money for having to deal with kids. Other things like that wearing masks and stuff all the time, just anywhere when you're going in public, is going to be more of a thing everywhere instead of just in like East Asian countries, which we had already begun seeing before this. Places like New York, Los Angeles, DC, big cities like that, it wasn't uncommon to see people wearing masks. But now, since this and after this, for a while at least, I expect a lot of people are going to be wearing masks. I certainly plan to. I was actually thinking before even all of this that I might start wearing a mask anyway, just because it's a good thing to do. And now I think after this that I'm just going to wear it all the time. There are also projections that things like handshakes and high fives and all of that with a bunch of people will probably be lessen, decrease, I don't know, like not as much of a thing as it was. Not that I do stuff like that anyway, but I know a fair many people who do. And they do it with a lot of people, which during this would be so risky for exposure. And people might be more conscious of that after this. Whenever after this is. A lot of things have been canceled. I was looking at the lockdown stuff for North Carolina because I go to one of the beaches there in the summer. And a lot of those are closed for a while. Most of the other things that we'd planned in the summer are most likely going to be canceled. A lot of the camps that my family had signed up for have been canceled. And things like the Pride Parade that was going to be in DC in June for Pride Month. That's been canceled. There are people all over the US calling for an end to this lockdown because it's been 2 weeks. But, like, the people who are doing that, they don't realize that it's not just, oh, it's been 2 weeks, we can reopen. Because 2 weeks is arbitrary, almost, at this point. Like, 2 weeks is the incubation period. But there's so many essential workers who are still exposed, and the people don't realize is that the 2-week counter resets every time you're exposed, and there are so many people who are exposed. And even if you know you don't have it in the 2 weeks, not even counting that, you might not have symptoms anyway, even if you do have it. So that 2 weeks won't show anything. But even if everyone who had it showed symptoms after 2 weeks, if everyone who knows they don't have it continues to go out after the 2 weeks, then they're going to come in contact with the essential workers, like grocery store clerks and all of that. Those types of people who have to be out during this for society to function. They're gonna come in contact with them, and then they're exposed again. So really, it's not like we can reopen after 2 weeks. We have to have everything stay like this until we're sure that we've gotten rid of the virus, which is going to be a while, I think. Like, I haven't seen anything past, like, the beginning of June, but I would not be surprised if this carries into next year. I hope it doesn't, but I wouldn't be surprised. This is another thing that pretty much everything all the time now is talking about Corona, because it's such a huge subject. Like, how could you not talk about it? There's nothing else to talk about. I don't know. I don't know.